So here we have issue number 13 of FREEZE64, which is just released in September 2017, with Thing on a Spring on the front cover, which is my all-time favourite Commodore 64 game. And then on the back cover we have the advert for Rescuing Orc, which has been coded by Juan Martinez, and you can buy that from usebox.net. So anyway, let's have a look inside the issue. We have the contents page as per usual, and we got a quote there from Greg Barnett, who's the coder of Way of the Exploding Fist by Melbourne House. Then we have my welcome piece, which features a game there that's been created by Pond Software. More about that in issue number 14 of FREEZE64. Then we have our cover feature, which is Thing on a Spring, and we talk about the game itself, my experiences of the game, and then we start looking at the memory location, so where the music is. We start looking at things like the sprites within the game, the character set. We've got the tape inlay, the front cover and the back there. And we start looking deeper into the code and start playing with the code, and I provide cheats such as infinite oil, which is energy. Give you a cheat that gives you all the gadgets, and also a cheat that allows you to walk through the walls. And as you can see there, Thing on a Spring is standing in between, well, standing within the wall there. And there's the pokes there for you, and then there's also a link to a Thing on a Spring music hack which I produced back in 1996. Then we move on to the mouldy cupboard feature, which features an old game, usually an obscure game from an obscure software company, and this time we got Zeta 7, which was produced by Mogul Software and coded by Mike Wacker, who produced most of Mogul Software's games. Quite a nice game to play. There's not much depth to it, but it's still a good arcade game to play. Then we have Desert Island Discs with Jason McKenzie, Kens, from Cytronic Software and Binary Zone. And he's our latest castaway, and is allowed to take 5 Commodore 64 games and SID tunes and a joystick and so on and so forth to our make-believe island, and there is Ken's there on his island. Then we have the Games in a Making, which features a new game that's currently being made by Chris Stanley, and it's a game called Exploding Fish. And there's a few screenshots there, and some lovely sprites at the bottom, which Chris sent to me. And then we have a game ending focus, which focuses on the game ending to the Vice Squad, which was released by Cytronic Software in 2013, designed by Trevor Story and coded by Akim Volkers. Great game ending there. And we move on to our Secret Squirrel feature, which finds hidden secret messages and other secret elements within games. And we've got a bit on Planet Golf there, a piece on Thing on a Spring, and then Beat It, Jammin' 2, which was released by Mastertronic and coded by the late Tony Gibson. I actually found a hidden screen editor within the game. More about that in this issue. And Coder's Corner this time is Anthony Clark, who's one half of Microprojects Limited. And he's one of the guys that helped to produce Thing on a Spring, Monty on the Run, and Frack, and a few other games. We look at the where Anthony first started with regards to computers, and then onto the Commodore 64. Then we discuss Thing on a Spring, the making of Thing on a Spring, and Monty on the Run. And then we find out what his favourite kind of Commodore 64 games are, coder is, musician, and so on and so forth. That's a nice interview. And then our HACKERSOFT pads. And this time it is a list that was requested by Vil. I think that's how we say his name. who said, you don't do old games. I do old games, and I have done old games, but just for him I did the list of the games that he requested, and these were games that I'd already cracked that were in my HACKERSOFT pads. So we got Blagger64 from 1983, Hypersports from 1985, Load Runner from 83, Manic Miner from 83, and he also asked for Zamzara, which is 1989. Then we have our first ever game mini review, which is of Planet Golf by Tony Savona. Fantastic Planet Golf. It's in our section called We Don't Do Reviews. And Tony's game gets a... is it going to focus? No, it's not. It's not going to focus. Tony gets a FREEZE64 Sizzler. It's our first Sizzler. It's our first game review, and he gets a Sizzler. Then we move on to a mini review for Rescuing Orc by Juan Martinez. And there's this fabulous picture by Vanya of Pond Software, who did the loading screen and then provided me with this image that I can use on the page, which came out fantastically. Then we have a making of, or the making of, Reckless Rufus by the lovely Mike Berry. There's Mike there. I've known Mike for around about 20 years now, and I kind of did this interview piece with him about a game that he had released, one of his games he had released back in 1992, I think it was. Yeah, 92, by Alternative Software, and it was Reckless Rufus. And then we have new pokes and codes. So we've got some pokes and codes for Planet Golf and Rescuing Orc. And there's some more codes for Rescuing Orc. Then we have an advert there from Chris Abbott from c64audio.com. And then a bit about next issue, which is going to have a cover feature on Cosmic Cruiser by Paul Clancy, which was released in 1984 by Imagine Software. And there's the advert on the back there, so I said Rescuing Orc. So this issue is £3.75 plus postage and packaging. So if you're in the UK, it's a total of £5, and if you're outside the UK, it's a total of £6. You'll also get this free cheat card, which is number 10 in the series, collectible cheat card. And then finally, if you subscribe, you'll get this free thing on a spring sticker. If you subscribe, you can subscribe on the website. So if you go to www.freeze64.co.uk and click on the subscribe button, you can subscribe for the next 3 issues of FREEZE64. And that's it. That's the current issue number 13.